Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. But really just hit that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. Today's video is going to be regarding the timeline from the Corner Club all the way up until the point where Maddie, Kaylee, Bethany, and Dylan all went to sleep. All right, so we're going to go over that, and then also we'll learn why Kaylee's bed looked like it was slept in. All right, so let's get started on that right now. On November 14th, 2022, at around 5:10 hours, I contacted the Uber driver. Let's just call him last name Gary. Let's just pretend. In the front lobby of the police department. Gary had contacted Moscow PD earlier in the day and stated he is a local Uber driver, and he gave Kaylee and Maddie a ride home on 11/13/2022 from the downtown area. Gary had been in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area when he contacted us and stated he would not be back until about 5 p.m. I asked Gary how he knew Kaylee and Maddie. Gary stated he drives for Uber and Lyft, and Kaylee and Maddie have become some of his regular customers, and this is how he met them. Gary stated he was contacted by Kaylee on 11/12/2022 at around 10:02 hours and asked if he could pick her up and some friends at 1122 King Road and take them to the Corner Club. Gary arrived at the address, and it says 8:15, but I think that's supposed to be 22:15. And I think that this right here is at 22:16. That's the Uber driver taking them to the Corner Club. And I think we've seen in documents where they left their residence and arrived at the Corner Club around 10 something. So it just doesn't make sense that that was 8:15. That should be 22:15. And there are errors in these documents and at various times. So I think that's an error. And this is the video of the Uber driver taking Kaylee, Maddie, and a male friend to the Corner Club. And it says Gary arrived at the address at, let's just say, 10:15 hours and picked up Kaylee, Maddie, and one other female. All right, then Kaylee and Maddie make it to the Corner Club, and they have a lot of drinks in there. Jack Showalter's in there. Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, is in there at some point. After they leave the Corner Club, we have this video. So that's Jack Showalter. So Kaylee asked Maddie, hey, what do you say to Adam? And then she said, I told Adam everything. All right. So this is, Jack Showalter is actually a friend of theirs walking with them. And I think he was just looking out for them that evening. Now, we got a bunch of lunatics out there that accuse him because he left the country and everything like that. Well, maybe he left the country because you guys are lunatics and were threatening him. He had absolutely nothing to do with anything. All right. So let's watch it again here. All right, so there you go. There's that. And then they make it to the grub truck. And let's play that.
I mean, that doesn't make up for it, but like...
No, it's amusing, though. It's fun to watch other people be miserable. Yeah. Have a good night. Bye.
And see right there's Jack Showalter. He came in with Kaylee and Maddie.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I think I would like the,
And, Kaylee, you can tell, is pretty buzzed, the way she talks. But Maddie's very, very intoxicated.
the carbonara.
Okay.
But if I have like a free grub truck on my app.
Oh, yep. So what you want to do is...
Yeah, so there she is ordering the food, right? And then later they leave the grub truck area after they got their meal at about 1:53. So they get there at 1:43 and they leave at 1:53. However, they contacted the Uber driver at 1:45, and we can see that right here in the document. It says at 1:45 hours on 11/13 he was contacted by Kaylee again and asked if he could pick her up and some friends up at the grub truck Gary arrived at the grub truck at around 1:49. So, even though he got there at 1:49, the girls didn't get done with their order until 1:53, and that's when they went to the grub truck driver. And it makes more sense because it only takes 2 or 3 minutes, it says, or 3 or 4. It says he stated it was about a 3 or 4 minute drive. So let's say if you picked him up at 1:53, because that's what the video shows, and a 3 minute drive, that'd be 1:56, and that's the exact timing on here. So right here it's 1:54. There's video of the private driver heading home, and then at 1:56 Kaylee and Madison are dropped off at 1122 King Road, and that makes complete sense. So let's take a look at that portion of the grub truck.
You got it.
What big burrito?
$7.50 if that's everything for you.
So she might even be texting him, hey, we're here, we'll be there in just a minute.
Slide.
Yeah, slide, tap, insert.
But it also could just be doing like FaceTime and taking videos, because they look like they're having a great time.
Facing you with the chip, any of it.
So there's Jack Showalter right there, and this is Kaylee and Madison, and they're leaving. This is about 1:53.
Ever since like we posted on it, I thought it was
Order 85.
And he goes, oh, there they go.
Can I do the big burrito? But I'm gonna really get some cheese sauce. Can I get it without the chipotle slaw?
Yes.
And look, he just walks by and says, hey, see you later. I think he's just a good guy, and he was just protecting them, making sure that everything was okay.
Yes, you absolutely
And
can.
then without the onion salsa.
No salt.
And then he walks off. So there you go. It matches up perfectly. At 1:56, Kaylee and Madison are dropped off at 1122 King Road. Now, I don't have that on a video. Gary arrived at the grub truck at around 1:49, like I said. And then at 1:53, they walk over there. Gary took Kaylee and Maddie home. He stated it was a 3 to 4 minute drive from the grub truck to 1122 King Road. And then after Kaylee and Maddie got home, this is in one of the documents that was put out pre-trial here. It says, after spending the evening out, roommates Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk, Kaylee Goncalves, and Madison Mogen returned to their home at 1122 King Road in the early morning hours of November 13, 2022. And then at approximately 2 a.m., so they get home at 1:56, Kaylee and Maddie. They all met up in Kaylee's bedroom and talked for a while before going to bed. The fifth roommate, Xana Kernodle, who was out with her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, was not home yet. The roommates debated going out to a food truck for a late snack, and again, that would be the grub truck. So when we hear this, we think that perhaps Bethany and Dylan are the ones that want to go out, because they're like, man, that looks like that's pretty good food. So they want to go to the grub truck as well. The roommates debated going out to a food truck for late snack, prompting Dylan Mortensen to send a text at 2:10 a.m. to an Uber driver she knew to see if he was driving. Ultimately, however, the girls decided to just go to bed, right? Because Kaylee and Maddie had already got their food from there, and they ate it. And maybe the other girls just wanted to get some. And, we got more details coming up here. And here's some backup information right here. It says on November 13, 2022, at 2:10:29, Dylan Mortensen texted Gary, the Uber driver, inquiring if he was driving. And then at 2:13, Gary texted Dylan confirming he was driving. But as we mentioned, they decided not to go to the grub truck. So up here it says, Dylan went to her room after one of her friends left. At around 2 o'clock hours, Kaylee and Maddie came home, about 1:56. Maddie, Kaylee, Dylan, and Bethany went up to Kaylee's bedroom. So now we're getting more details about that. Once they got home, Kaylee was getting ready for bed. So keep that in mind. Kaylee was getting ready for bed right then as they were hanging out in her room. So she obviously wasn't going to be one of the ones that went to the grub truck. It was going to be, I absolutely believe it's going to be Bethany and Dylan, because Kaylee and Maddie had already eaten. Bethany, Maddie, Dylan went downstairs, and Bethany took Murphy outside to let him go to the bathroom. So if you look at that, Maddie and Bethany took Murphy downstairs, so that means Kaylee's still upstairs in her room, and she was getting ready for bed, so she's likely in bed right now. And they were bringing Murphy outside to go to the bathroom. Then Bethany only stayed outside for a short time, and she then went back into the house and put something away in her cupboard and grabbed a bag of chips. So instead of going to the grub truck, she had a bag of chips. Bethany went downstairs to go to bed, because remember, the second floor is where the kitchen is, so she had to go downstairs to her bedroom, which is while looking at the front of the house, the lowest window on the left. Bethany stated nothing was unusual about Maddie, and I think they probably meant to put Kaylee's demeanor when they got home. Bethany stated they both appeared to be happy. Bethany said Maddie was highly intoxicated, and she had not seen her at that level of intoxication for a very long time. I mean, yes, she was. I mean, if you watch the whole grub truck video, she's really staggering around. And then Bethany said when she went to bed, she was using her iPad to watch a TV show off of Hulu. Bethany said she was watching Baby Daddy. Bethany could not remember what episode she was watching or how long she was watching. As she was watching the show, Maddie came downstairs and asked her if she had Murphy with her because she could not find him. Bethany told her no. Bethany said her door was locked, and she normally locked her door when she goes to bed. Bethany told me she eventually turned off the show and her iPad and went to sleep. And then there's another rendition of the same event here, and some more errors. It says, I interviewed an additional roommate, Bethany, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. Bethany said she was on the second floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan. And an unidentified person starts with the L, and that's the friend of Dylan, I guess. Bethany said at approximately 2 a.m. on 11/13/2022, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club bar located, and they gave the address, in Moscow, Idaho. Bethany said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the grub truck wandering kitchen truck that was commonly located in the 300 block of South Main Street. Bethany said she and Madison let Madison's dog out, Murphy, sometime between 2 a.m. hours and 2:30 hours. Bethany said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. Bethany said she returned inside while Madison was still outside with Murphy. And there wasn't any suspicious activity because Koberger didn't arrive to the scene until about 3:30 a.m. And this is, 2:30-ish, 2:15, 2:30. Bethany said she went to bed at around 2:30 hours. Bethany said Madison came into her bedroom sometime after 2:30 hours to ask if she knew where Murphy was. Bethany said she told Madison no, and Madison left. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the first floor, to a sound she described as firecrackers and a flash. Now, I can't really explain that. Might be the one when she told Dylan that, she said it was a boom, and that could be the loud thud that we hear at 4:17 with the dog Murphy barking. Yeah, so basically what happened here was, when they came home, they went to, they were in Kaylee's room with Dylan, Bethany, and Maddie were all in there. Then Kaylee was getting ready for bed and actually climbed into bed. And then Bethany and Maddie go outside to, let Murphy go to the bathroom. That would be on the second floor in the kitchen. And then, Bethany was too cold outside, so she went back inside, got a snack out of the cupboard, and then went down to her bedroom. And then just a few minutes later, Madison goes down to Bethany's room and asks her if she had seen Murphy. And, Bethany says no, and then, watches her movie for a little bit that she was watching, and then goes to sleep. And then Madison obviously found Murphy, brought Murphy up to Kaylee's room, and Kaylee's in bed, and that's probably right around the time where she's still in the middle of trying to call Jack over and over and over again from 226 all the way up to 244 she was calling. But maybe at like 235, 240 is when Madison brought the dog back and then went to her room, and then she likely just got into her bed. And then Kaylee came over to the room and was like, hey, can you try to call Jack? Maybe he'll answer your phone. So then from 244 till 252, Maddie calls Jack 3 times. And then Kaylee tries calling again. They're both probably laying on Madison's small bed at this point. And then at 253, I believe it is. Now let's check out the timeline here. At 253, yeah, Madison calls Bethany. And maybe she called Bethany to say, hey, I found the dog. I found Murphy. I mean, we don't know what that phone call was about, and it's not probably vital to any portion of the case. Koberger showed up at the scene about 38 minutes later, and that's when we see a series of the white Elantra driving around, doing the initial 3 passes, and then making its 4th pass, and there's actually like part A and B. Part A is when it does a 3-point turn behind 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then drives back to Queen and King, does another 3-point turn, and then drives back around, and then parks his vehicle at around 408, and then he enters the house. And so right now we'll put the animation that I created a while ago in there, and you'll get sort of just a sense of how this all went down. It's really crazy. The girls did absolutely nothing wrong. There was nothing nefarious going on at all. There's just a crazy lunatic who is determined to show up that night and kill. And I believe Madison Mogen is the target, but it sounds like law enforcement isn't sure if it was Kaylee or Madison, and they think that because he went upstairs first. And if you remember early on, that's what Steve Goncalves said. He said he didn't have to go upstairs. Remember that? All right, so let's play the animation right now. All right, well, thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. And we'll be putting out some more videos soon. Thank you again, and hit that like button before you leave. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there.